Welcome to Data Talk, presented by IDEA Data and Research. DATA stands for Data Analysis Techniques Applied. Data Talk is a series of videos for Arkansas's local education agencies on the use of data, particularly for special education staff. The series will cover the basic concepts of data, including understanding data sources, context of the data, analytical techniques, and the reporting of IDEA data. In this episode, we will take you through a possible timeline of how the Part C indicators of the State Performance Plan Annual Performance Report, also known as the SPP APR, may influence the life of a child and his family under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA. The Arkansas Learns Act of 2023 moved the Part C program of IDEA from the Department of Human Services to the Department of Education. Part C is part of the Office of Special Education's Early Childhood section. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, has two primary areas which focus on the services and support for children and families. Part C addresses the eligibility and services for children aged birth to 3. Part B of IDEA addresses the eligibility and services for children aged 3 through 21. Under both Part C and Part B, states are required to develop and submit a State Performance Plan, SPP, and an Annual Performance Report, APR, based on the targets established in the SPP. Before I move forward, I would like to acknowledge the Arizona Department of Education. This presentation is based on an original work of their special education staff, which presented a chronological order of the Part B SPP APR indicators, using Miguel, our hypothetical child, as an example. The Part C APR has 11 indicators. On the right side of the screen is a list of the indicators, which include Indicator 1, timely provision of services. Indicator 2, services and natural environments. Indicator 3, early childhood outcomes. Indicator 4, family involvement. Indicator 5, child find, birth to age 1. Indicator 6, child find, birth to age 3. Indicator 7, 45-day timeline. Indicator 8, early childhood transition. Indicator 9, resolution sessions. Indicator 10, mediation. And Indicator 11, State Systemic Improvement Plan, also known as the SSIP. One might think the indicators are listed in chronological order. For example, an indicator related to child find and evaluation timelines would be near the top, not in the middle. But they are not. So we will touch on each of them in a more chronological order. Perhaps it is helpful to think of the data collected for each indicator like a timeline or story of a child progressing through IDEA and their educational career. However, keep in mind, indicators may have relevance at different ages. For example, children may become eligible for special education at various ages. Not all of the indicators will be relevant to every child. Some indicators collect data at a single point, and others collect data multiple times during a child's educational career. So let's begin this journey by introducing you to Miguel, our hypothetical child. When Miguel was 6 months old, his parents and doctor noticed some signs of developmental delays. So a referral was made to an IDEA Part C provider. In Arkansas, Part C Services is part of the Arkansas Division of Elementary and Secondary Education, Office of Special Education. Early Childhood Special Education section covers IDEA services for children ages birth to 5, which includes early intervention EI services and preschool children ages 3 to 5, but does not include 5-year-old children in kindergarten. At age 6 months, Miguel was referred to Part C for early intervention services. The Part C program conducted an initial referral and evaluations to determine his eligibility for EI services. When children aged birth to 3 are referred for Part C services, once informed consent is received, there is a 45-day timeline for evaluations to be completed and eligibility determined. Miguel was referred and had his eligibility determined within 45-day timeline. This is reported in Part C Indicator 7 titled 45-Day Timeline. Miguel was found to be eligible for Part C services, and upon parental consent, Miguel began his services outlined in his Individual Family Service Plan, or IFSP, within 30 days. Whether or not his services began within the 30-day window is reported in the Part C Indicator 1 titled Timely Provision of Services. In this graphic display is a 6-step timeline for Part C that links the SPP APR indicators. Some indicators are grouped into a step, others stand alone. The arrows going to the right indicates the step, and the associated indicators are listed below. These first two indicators, 7 and 1, complete the first step on the timeline. Because Miguel was placed into early intervention services at 6 months of age, his eligibility was also included in the count of children ages birth to 1 with an IFSP for the year of his initial placement. Indicator 5, Child Find, birth to 1, captures the number of children with an IFSP who are age birth to 1 on the day of the EI child count. Part C Indicator 6, Child Find, birth to 3, captures the count of children between ages birth to 3 with an IFSP on the day of the EI child count. This would include Miguel as well. Children referred and found eligible after age 1 would not be part of Indicator 5, but would be part of Indicator 6. Indicator 5, Child Find, birth to 1, and Indicator 6, Child Find, birth to 3, brought us to our second stop along the timeline. When Miguel's eligibility was determined, the parents and the IFSP team decided the best placement for Miguel to receive his early intervention services. Ideally, Miguel would be in a natural or typical environment as his same age peers, such as at home or community-based setting with other children. Miguel could have received services at home, but Miguel's parents and IFSP team decided that a community setting would be the best environment and would allow Miguel to be around other children with and without a disability. His placement is reported as part of Indicator 2, Services in Natural Environment. Indicator 2, Services in Natural Environment, is our third stop along the timeline. During each year that Miguel receives EI services, his parents are asked to complete a family involvement survey. The survey results provide information to the programs about how they are engaging families, what is working, and what needs improvement. The survey results are presented in the Part C Indicator 4. Arkansas's Part C Indicator 11, State Systemic Improvement Plan, or SSIP, focuses on family involvement as well. The data collected from families provides data needed to report both Indicator 4 and Indicator 11. Indicator 4, Family Involvement, and Indicator 11, State Systemic Improvement Plan, has brought us through 7 of the 11 Part C indicators and is our fourth stop in our timeline. Miguel is now 2.5 years old and will be transitioning to preschool services under Part B of IDEA. His IFSP team has contacted the Part B program in the school district where he lives to schedule his early childhood transition conference. This conference occurs no later than 90 days prior to his third birthday and no more than 9 months prior to his third birthday. This information is captured in Part C, Indicator 8, Early Childhood Transition. Part C, Indicator 8, Early Childhood Transition, is the fifth stop along our timeline. Prior to his exit from Part C, EI Services, Miguel was given a benchmark to assess his progress. He was given a similar benchmark upon entry to EI Services. His progress is reported in Part C, Indicator 3. Indicator 3, Early Childhood Outcomes, captures the progress made from entry to exit in the following areas. A. Positive social emotional skills. B. Acquisition and use of knowledge and skills. And C. Use of appropriate behaviors to meet their needs. This brings us to our sixth spot on our timeline. However, we have a couple more indicators to discuss, which we consider optional in a child's progression through IDEA. Indicators 9 and 10 of the Part C SPP APR look at dispute resolution. Miguel's parents had procedural safeguards under Part C of IDEA. These rights include requesting mediation or filing a due process complaint. A resolution session is part of the due process complaint. Not all parents seek resolution sessions or mediation, so these indicators are considered optional in the timeline. The optional dispute resolution indicators were added to the bottom right corner of our timeline. We hope that by sequencing the indicators in a timeline, stakeholders may be able to mentally organize how the indicators are connected to each other and to identify areas where they play a critical role during various stages of a child's IDEA progression. The decisions that parents, Part C providers, and case managers make for each child influence the SPP APR indicators. It is the data in the SPP APR that communicates to the federal government Arkansas's efforts to meet IDEA requirements and, in doing so, can be used as a leverage to improve outcomes for children with disabilities. Thank you for viewing this episode of Data Talk. We hope you have found it to be helpful and will join us for upcoming Data Talk episodes. Our contact information is IDEA Data and Research, University of Arkansas at Little Rock, 2801 South University Avenue, Stabler Hall 406, Little Rock, Arkansas 72204. Our phone number is 501-916-3219. Our fax number is 501-916-3238. If you have questions, you can contact Dr. Jody Fields at jafields@ualr.edu.